So the other day, God spoke the words, reach out your hand. And he reminded me of a few stories in the Bible where he actually told people to do that very thing. One of them was a man with a withered or shriveled hand. And Jesus said, reach out your hand. And as the man reached out his hand, showing by reaching out his hand his obedience and his trust and his faith, Jesus healed him. There was a miraculous healing, and that man was forever changed. And the other one he reminded me of was Moses when he stood at the Red Sea, and God directed him to stretch out his hand, to reach out his hand. And through his act of obedience, when Moses did that very thing, God parted the waters of the Red Sea, and the Israelites were able to walk through on dry ground to the other side. And then when he told him to again reach out his hand when he was on the other side and all the Israelites were safe, then God closed the waters over their enemies. Just such a mighty, amazing, miraculous miracle, isn't it? Then the third story that he reminded me of was a woman with the issue of blood, and how she had the faith to just tell herself, if I just touch the hem of his garment. So what did she do? She had to reach out her hand, didn't she, to touch the hem of his garment. And as she reached out her hand and as she touched the hem of his garment, her faith activated the miracle. And God was just telling me through all of those stories, have the faith to reach out your hand. But he also added another word for me that was super important, and it was again. Because I don't know about you, but in life, it feels like sometimes you have the faith to reach out your hand the first time, but when that miracle doesn't come when you think it should or how you think it should, it can be hard, can't it? And then it's like, okay, when it happens the second or the third time or the fourth or the fifth, maybe that's okay. When it really literally feels like it's been like the 100th time that you have desperately just cried out to God, you sought his face, you reached out your hand in faith and obedience, and it seemed like the heavens were silent. That can be a whole different story, can it? And it can be so hard to gather your frail seeming faith to obey when he says yet again to reach out your hand. But those are the very words he spoke to my heart the other day. And even though I wrestled with them, and even though I'm like, I don't know if I have the strength to reach out my hand again, I am sure trying to. And for me, that is choosing to walk in obedience and do what he's calling me to do, to keep doing those videos, to keep encouraging people, but also to just kind of stretch my wings and dream again, to have the faith to believe again, that just because it didn't happen the way that I wanted it to happen in the past, and that my miracle didn't manifest in the way that I thought it would, it doesn't mean that he can't do something brand new. So friend, I'm praying for you too. If that's you, that has just felt like you've trusted and you've believed and you've obeyed and you have reached out your hand in the past, only to be met with it feels disappointment and then discouragement and even a little bit of doubt creeps in. May we just have the faith to once more gather our strength and our trust and decide to say, okay, God, if you're telling me this, I'm going to put the past in the past, and I'm going to choose to believe again. And I am going to choose to reach out my hand, showing that I am fully trusting and believing and obeying what you're asking of me. And friend, I feel like he is telling us, like, forget the former things. Forget all those times. And yeah, maybe the miracle, it wasn't the time for the miracle, or maybe we thought that he had said a certain thing and he didn't, but whatever it was for us, let's just put all that in the past and let's walk forward into this bright new day that he has, and let's trust and believe that he still does have good things in store. And if he tells us to reach out our hand and show that we are trusting and believing, let's have the faith, the tenacious faith to do it, friend. And I cannot wait to see all the miracles that manifest because we chose not to give up, even when it was hard, even when we didn't feel like anything was happening, even when all the times before left us empty-handed and hearted. God can do a new thing, friend. He can rejuvenate. He can bring to life. And the timing isn't ours to decide, is it? It's His. I think of how the children of Israel, they were enslaved and in captivity for 400 years. And generation after generation cried out. But it wasn't until the appointed time that God delivered them. So let us pray that we have faith to keep believing and keep trusting until that appointed time comes in our life, friend. I love you. I'm praying for you. And we do have the strength to reach out our hand again, fully trusting and believing that He is a miracle working God. I love you.